Okay, now we are going to start with opening Corel Draw X5, which stands for 15. And this is a really wonderful program. It can do so many different wonderful things. Now, with me, myself, I was able to go in and create my own template, which is my template, and where I have everything centered. And it's very important when I'm working to have things centered, because there's a lot that you can do once you have something perfectly in the middle. And it's very easy to center your work area. All you have to do is drag down these lines, and if you hit P, it takes it to the center. And if you drag it to the side and you hit P again, it'll also take it to the center. But this one is already centered. So, and then you take this line here and drag it, this corner right here, and drag it to the center, and that will bring your center from being over here directly to the middle. Okay, so now we are going to import a file that we're going to redesign this logo, and I'm going to place it in here. And for me, the center of this logo is going to be right around the circle, because that's how we're going to use it. And so I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to start with my main focal point right now. It's going to be this circle. So we're going to bring in a circle just to get that going, and we're going to get this piece centered the way that we want it. And we're going to make this a multi-layered piece so that it's easier for us to work with. So we're going to start out by having the logo, and this is the name. I'll call it logo. So that we can define the different layers over here. And so now that we want the logo to be on the bottom layer, and we might as well create a couple of layers. We'll create logo, we'll create lines, L, and then we will create letters, which will be on the top. And it's important that you have the layers in a certain sequence so that they fall a certain way. And so now it's important that we go ahead, we're going to go to lines layer, and when you have a layer, it will be highlighted with red letters so that you know where you are at all times. And so, and also, so what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get our center piece going. I'll drag it around, and I hold the Alt or the Control button, which allows it to stay perfectly symmetrical. And I will center that by hitting the letter P. Okay, so we have this this vector, and it's not quite the right size that we want. So we have it centered, but it's too small. So we want to be able to match this inner rim of the wheel. So we're going to, it looks like it might be about 33 or 34. So if we go up here, we see it's 29. Being that the lock is on, if you adjust one side, it will adjust X and Y at the same time. So let's try 34 millimeters, because I work in millimeters. So that looks just about right. It pretty much evens it up. So now I can go in there and fine tune the center. So now we have our tire actually centered pretty well. And so now, since we're here, we want to call this ellipse inner, we're going to call it inner wheel, I-N-N-E-R, wheel. Okay, So now we need some more lines to work with before we really get started on this process. So I have it set so if I duplicate it, which is Control D, it's going to stay in the same place without jumping around, because I have it set to 0, 0, 0 when I make a duplication of anything, because I like working from the center. It's very important. So I'm going to duplicate, Control D, and now I can take this. If I hold Shift, because if you hit Control J, it allows you to select in Toolbox. It's in Toolbox, the key function. What will happen when you do these things? So it's okay. I want it to constrain from center, and I hold Shift, so I can close that. Now that I have this copied, I can hold Shift, and bring it in, and get a line going around my I guess that's a dove. And then I'm going to do another one, Control D, and I need to get an outer wheel going, because we got to get that wheel looking real nice, just a little bit more. And once again, we need to Control D once, and then if I hold Shift, I can bring it in to get a guideline for my lettering on the wheel, because we have to have something to follow when we get to that point. Okay, so you see I have all my lines here, and so I'm going to also go ahead and get the rest of my lines real quick while I'm at it. Now this one, I might as well change the names of these so I won't get confused. You can always click on it, and I'm going to call it Yellowbird, Y-B-L-L-O-W, bird. To give me some, so I know what I'm going to be doing, and because I'm going to change this, and I just need to find where I'm at. I'm going to call this outer wheel. So we already have wheel. I can just change this to outer. And those are the most definitions that I need right now. I can call this one right here letter guide. And you can tell when something's highlighted because it will have this little box on it letting you know which vector is selected. So I'm going to call this letter guide. And so we have all those, and I'm going to do a save. It's always good to save as you go, just in case you have any computer glitches. And I'm going to call this logo. I'm just going to call it logo 2. Why not? And so it's saved. Now we're safe to go on and start bringing in some detail. Now, one of the important things is this has a measuring tool over here that it's called a parallel dimension tool. If I click on that, I can kind of measure the size of the tread on this tire. It tells me that it's 4.1 millimeters. So I'm going to undo that because I just wanted to measure it. So I'm going to make a little box here. I'm going to hold the control. If I hold the control, it gives me a perfect square. And as you see, they have a new feature that gives you rounded curves on this, but we don't want that. So if we go select the shape tool, we can always get rid of those and make them nice points if we want. And also, this will tell us that it's 4.2 millimeters, and we want 4.1. So it gives us the shape that we want. So we can come over here and bring it into place. And if you click it in the middle, when you click it once, it just selects the tool and it gives you the ability to resize and other various things. If you click it twice, it gives you the ability to rotate it at will. And so I'm going to rotate it, and I'm going to click it again to take it back to the regular mode so I can put it in place right where I want it to be. And that looks pretty good to me. Maybe a little bit, I better straighten it up just a little more. Right about there. Now that looks good.